Well, good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, everyone. Apologies for no audio. I was commentating, and apparently I wasn't. Welcome to the Italian Grand Prix. I'm going to cut away from the action for a second to show you the race info. We've got a 15-minute qualifying session, or at least there's 15 minutes left, followed by a 40-minute race at the Temple of Speed, a very wet one that is. Today it is pouring down rain. They've got 5.8 kilometers per lap and 11 turns, each of which very historic and very famous corners such as Ascari, the two Lesmos, and Parabolica. So, we've got Monza, it's round 4, and the championship is still wide open, although Alexei Kaipinen took a commanding lead last time, and we should be in for an exciting one as Max Janssen tries to remain in striking range down in second place now. Let's cut back on to the action, and I hope you all can finally hear me. 13 minutes ago, and Max Janssen is in first place so far today. Let's cut to the timetable here, and you can see the laps they've done already. Max Janssen sets a 2:07.8 in the rain, and yes, it is a monsoon out there. They've been struggling. In practice all weekend long, or so I've heard, anyways. No, it's Lucas Krunzen on top. Apologies, not Max Janssen. I was just, well, that's force of habit. I was just assuming that it would be Max Janssen, but no, Lucas Krunzen, who's been a midfield driver so far in this championship, is currently on provisional pole position. And Toyen Lure goes P2, so a nice lap from him. He's only 5/10 off Lucas Krunzen's time. Robert Pawn a little bit off the pace, at least more than you'd expect him to be, as per usual. Not as per usual, but more than you usually expect him to be. He's 3/10 behind Lure in third. And Finnegan, a new face, I believe. I don't think we've seen him yet in this championship. He's sitting in fourth place on a 2:10.8, a respectable time in this rain considering they're very tricky conditions, and they're not comparable to last week's at all. Yes, 2 wet races in a row where things are really spicing up. So Mr. Tots, nice sportsmanship there to duck out of the way of Max Janssen. So there's a lot of things you gotta do differently in the rain. It's not as easy as just drive slower. You do have to take the wet line, but when you cross over to the bit that is rubbered in, you're gonna have a pretty terrible go of it. So you have to be very careful, pick the wet lines, and you have to be very cautious going into corners. This is a race where they can throw up some surprises. You never know. Max Janssen, I know he's very experienced in this game, as are the mainstays Robert Pawn and Alexei Kaipinen, but it could be tough for them, and you never know. You could see some mistakes. Okay, apparently I've got to lower the game volume. Sorry about that, everyone. That should be a bit better. So we've got 11 minutes to go. Let's cut on to the current leader who just took pole position, Robert Pawn. Let's not jump onto him because he's currently in the pit lane. Let's jump onto the guy who just took first place. Finally, if I said it 4 minutes ago and I was just a little bit too early, Max Janssen has taken provisional pole position so far with a steaming lap in the rain. For some reason, I can't actually get the timing to come up on the left side. Well, let's take a look at the timetable because the broadcasting app is not working the way I want it to as Max Janssen spins going into that corner. And yep, there's a look at how tricky the conditions are going to be when one of the bona fide contenders for the championship is spinning like that. You know that they might have some tough time out there. Let's go on board with Finnegan. He's representing the Lexus squad today. He is the 5th man who set a time 6 seconds behind Max Janssen. What a smashing time that was. 2.6 seconds ahead of Robert Pawn, and Max Janssen really wants to rake back the points that he lost last weekend to Alexei Kaipinen. Gergo Barak goes P2, a very experienced GTE driver, now driving for the GT3 Sim Apex team. He's going to pump in a 2:06.4, still a long ways off Max Janssen's time. I don't know if that'll be touchable today, but he's got a 2:06.4, good enough for second place so far this afternoon. And here we go. It's the battle resuming because Alexei Kaipinen goes into P1. He's really showing that he wants it. Max, I'm sure, can't believe it. Alexei Kaipinen straight into the lead, and he messes up the first chicane. And I'm really interested to see what's going to happen come race time, because these little mistakes in qualifying that don't really mean anything suddenly become something that could end someone's race if you miss the braking point or you understeer into somebody. I'm anxious to see what's going to happen coming down to turn 1, because it's usually a catastrophe anyways. But in the rain, oh boy, watch out. Now, Robert Pawn, who is one of the organizers of the league, has said that anyone causing an incident in turn 1 will be slapped with a massive penalty. As you see, Alexei Kaipinen missed the apex there. So, you know, I hope the drivers will be extra careful, but, you know, mistakes are made, and even if you're aware that you will get an extra big penalty, you can still make a big mistake. It's set to rain all day long here. It's a miserable day in Italy. Toyenlure, good move there to stay off the track. He's going to return to the pit lane as Kaipinen heads into Ascari, and I can tell you that's a fair bit slower than they normally take it. Normally you really want to be whipping through Ascari, and that's where you gain a lot of time on the lap, as Alexei Kaipinen goes wide, even with the just tremendous amounts less speed he's carrying, and I think he's up on his time if I'm not mistaken. On my timing slot, which apparently is not going to be shown, he's 1.3 seconds up on his time. And he seems to be losing a lot of time in the Parabolica. But we're going to have to find out when he crossed the line. His lap may also be invalidated for running wide at Ascari. I'm not entirely sure. Alexei Kaipinen coming around the final corner. Can he improve? We don't know. We're going to have to check the live timing. He does improve by a second. He goes to a 2:03.3, and you got to think he can't be caught now. Max Janssen, we know, is... Oh, no. Okay, so it was invalidated, unfortunately. Alexei went quite a bit faster. That would give him some big breathing room to Max Janssen, but unfortunately it was invalidated by the running wide at Ascari. Also, just take a look at the little staircase created by the sectors there. Ricky McKay has the fastest first sector by quite a big margin, actually, by 3/10 almost. Then Amir Havik pumped in a very nice lap to get P3. He's on a 43.3 in the second sector, and overall he's only 6/10 behind Max Janssen. So maybe Amir Havik is going to take advantage of the torrential downpour, and maybe he'll stake his claim for a podium. Then we have Max Janssen, who's at the fastest last sector by a 10th. He's got a 41.3 in there and a 204.8 overall. However, Alexei Kaipinen still has the lead of the session with a 204.7 with about 3 laps left to do for each driver if they maximize their time. Again, I don't really know why the times are not showing up on the left side. It is a bit unfortunate that we can't get that, but well, let's ride on board with Ricky McKay, who, if I'm not mistaken, has just gone P1. Ricky McKay is P1 in his Ferrari 488. Wow, 3/10 ahead of Max Janssen, so a surprise to be sure. Ricky McKay, a driver who was previously just below the midfield, just below the top runners. He was fighting about in the midfield in the last few races. He's on pole position with 5 minutes to go in the session. 3.5 tenths ahead of Alexei Kaipinen. We know Alexei can go faster than that. We saw it on his last lap that was invalidated, but wow, congratulations to Ricky McKay for a tremendous lap that was certainly unexpected. Unfortunately, Alexei Kaipinen has said, no, I don't think so, and put him back down to P2. Let's go back to the timetable and see what time he set. It was a 2:03.7, so I know Ricky McKay set a great lap there, but I think that may be an untouchable time. Other news, Robert Pawn, who is up in the upper echelons of the championship, down in P8 today. Unfortunate for him. Looks like he's struggling a bit in the wet. Amir Havik doing very well. Perhaps the Ferraris are well suited to the rain. He's in P4. Sylvester Tots in P5 in the Porsche. Then Lucas Krunden, who was on pole early. His time was much slower than they're setting now. Robert Pawn in 8th, and then Imran Shaikh, Toyenlure, and think it's James Finnegan. I'm going to say James. I'm going to look up his info right now. I believe it's James Finnegan. I'm prepared to look like a dummy. James Finnegan. It is James Finnegan. A stroke of luck. Let's just go over the conditions one more time today. We've got a 15 degrees Celsius temperature, so some very cold, wet tires. 70% rain, basically meaning it's going to be raining all day long, and it's going to be raining about this hard all day long. Qualifying is just about wrapping up. We've got 4 minutes left to go in the session. And Kaipanen is still leading the way, and he could get away from them if he wins this race. Let's take a look at the standings while we're waiting for the end of the session. Alexei Kaipanen leads with 61 points to Max Janssen's 46. Max Janssen looks to be a bit outmatched today. He was complaining about the Audi, and perhaps I think that's the Bentley of Alexei Kaipanen, or no, the Aston Martin of Alexei Kaipanen is just a bit better suited to the conditions. Let's cut on to Ricky McKay now. Nope, he's in the pit lane. Max Janssen now is trying to come back and set the fastest time possible. Can't improve on this one. He does improve. He goes past Ricky McKay into P2 with a 203.7. I'm pretty sure that's very close to Alexei Kaipanen's time. Wow, 0.015 seconds behind Kaipanen. He's going to have another go. Remember, doing a few laps isn't a big deal on the wet tires because they wear very slowly, especially considering the cold temperatures. Back to the standings. I don't have a graphic for you, unfortunately, but it is Alexei Kaipanen leading with 61 to Max Janssen's 46. Max's DNF at Zolder really costing him, and now Alexei Kaipanen threatens to pull out the lead ever so even more. Robert Pons in P3, but he's struggling today, down in P9 so far. Gergo Balok is in P4. He looked okay in qualifying. He's in P5 at the moment, so he could move into the top 3 today if Robert Pons has a poor race. Janis Orzechowski is out today. He was in 5th after winning race 2, but we won't be seeing him this afternoon. And I'm aware that the game audio has just gone incredibly loud in my ears. Apologies. I have to turn that down. Maxime Bedidi is also absent today. He was in 6th. Amir Havak in 7th, threatening to pick up a lot of positions as he's doing quite well in qualifying right now. Mixa Mortiferum is again absent. Finished 3rd in the opener, but did not finish the 2nd and did not start in Silverstone. He's absent again, as is Vladislav Molchenko. Lucas Krunzen, though, who's in 10th in the championship, is back today, and he's going to try to pick up some more points. On board with Max Janssen on what will certainly be his final lap, I think. Actually, no, I believe he's coming down the back straight. Oh, getting very squirmy on the entry, and he lost it in a straight line there. He lost the car in a straight line, and that just shows you what they have to deal with today, folks. So that is one of the series' best drivers losing the car in a straight line, and now he will not get a chance to contest Alexei Kaipanen's pole position. Oh, he's on pole position. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. Max Janssen apparently, as he crossed the line there, took pole position, and maybe that spin was on purpose. I think it may have been on purpose, just to say, look, I'm the captain now. So Max is now in the lead. Congrats, Max. Let's cut on to Alexei Kaipanen. We'll ride on board with him for the remainder of his lap. He's coming through the first sector now, and this is going to be his final lap to try to wrest pole position back from Max Janssen. He needs to improve on his 203.7. Let's quickly take a look at the timetable, just so you guys can see what he needs to make up. He needs 2.1 of a second to take pole position on this lap. Can he do it? Well, we're going to find out. Let's show you his HUD so you can see what he's dealing with all throughout this lap. Down to 72 kilometers an hour for the first chicane. A very tricky one that in dry conditions even, if you go too far to the left, you hit the gravel and that's your lap over, especially when you're driving at such a level as Alexei Kaipanen. and these corners much slower than normal. You see him avoiding the apex there, taking the the wet line, and he's going to do so through the second Lesmo as well. You don't want to touch that curb, as you can unsettle the car, and the rear will say goodbye. Down the straight here, no DRS in the GT3 class, of course, on a 115.6 as he comes down the straight, heading into Ascari, one of the track's most famous corners, and he's going to brake in the middle of the track. Don't want to stay on the outside. That's how you lose the back end into the braking zone, and very gingerly on the power onto the exit towards Parabolica. Look at how on the limit he is. You can see just by the wheel adjustments he's having to make. This could be closer. He's on a 38.2 heading into the final corner of Parabolica. This will make or break the lap. You need to maximize your run out of the corner. You want to be on the power as quickly as possible, and you want to be off the acceleration zone as soon as you can to get the best exit possible. Will this be it? It's the run up to the line. It looks like he's down on his time, unfortunately, and he will not be taking pole position today. It's Max Janssen taking pole at Italy. The first race in Italy, I should say. Max Janssen is on pole position, and he's going to stake his claim for taking... Okay, if I cannot hear that, that would be great. He's going to stake his claim for taking the championship back, and I believe so. Let's go down the running order first before we let's go down the running order before the race begins. Max Janssen is on pole position. He's 15 points back of Alexei Kaipinen, who starts alongside him in P2. Ricky McKay with a superb qualifying. He's starting in third. Then Sylvester Tots alongside him. He's going to try for his first podium of the championship. Toyin Lure with a nice P5 in qualifying. Good for him. Amir Havik in P6 wants to move up the running order. Gergo Balok trying to move into the top 3 on today's card of racing. Sorry, in today's session of racing. Imran Shaikh in the number 1 Ferrari 488, a little bit cheeky there from him. He's going to start P8. Lucas Krunden in P9. Robert Pawn, dreadful qualifying from him, perhaps struggling in the wet conditions, although he was very excited to drive in the wet, in P10. And then there's James Finnegan starting in 11th. We've got 3 minutes, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the fastest lap of Max Janssen right now. I can't even find it, but I thought that would be a good idea. We're going to take a look at Max Janssen's 2:03.5 pole lap, or maybe we're not, because that's, okay, it's not going to let me do that. Never mind then. Let's go back to the race. If it'll let me. I don't know why exactly it's doing this. Also, apologies for any noises that you may hear above my head. There's some work being done in my apartment building, unfortunately, so apologies for that. Robert, I believe it's possible Robert Pond did not even get to set a lap time because he said his game is crashing quite a bit, so could be a poor race from him due to internet connection, which would be unfortunate. With 1 minute 30 to go, we seem to be having problems with the graphic. So I'm going to disconnect it just for a second and see if that fixes it. No, that did the opposite of fixing it. That made it far, far worse. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with the broadcasting. I don't know if I can reset it. But I don't know why it keeps saying session has ended. If anyone in WhatsApp can tell me why it's doing that, that would be fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to the session start. This is going to be one of the most interesting ones of the entire series, I think. Everyone says good luck in chat. Thanks for the good sportsmanship, guys. Good luck to you all in the race. 22 seconds until the green flag is waved. Remember, they will go around Parabolica, and then they will start as they pass the start-finish line. It's going to be Max Janssen hoping to take back the championship from Alexei Kaipinen, and we're set possibly for another big battle between those two, which has very much been the story of the season. The session should be getting underway just about now.
Alright, we have some wet conditions. Remember that curves are slippery and watch your braking distance.
And I apparently have a race engineer now. I really don't know why those boxes are showing up. That's pretty annoying. I think it may be something in my Assetto Corsa and my Competizione, actually. Ah, that's why. Okay, I've got it now. Apologies for that, everyone. Very unprofessional. Sorry about that. So here we go. About to go green for the 40 minutes of Monza. Max Janssen has to take P1.
Green light, green light.
And we're away. Alexei Kaipinen gets a bit of a better launch, as does, I believe, Sylvester Tots in the backfield. He's actually got a good run. No, that's Ricky McKay. Ricky McKay's got a good run on the top two. Max Janssen on the inside. He's got a bit better speed down the straight. Looks like he's running a bit less downforce, and now into the braking zone for turn one. Someone steaming in at the back. Doesn't collide with anybody. Thank the racing gods, and they're all through cleanly, it looks like. Max Janssen maintains the lead, and there's a big cluster in the midfield there. Toy and Lure doing battle with Amir Havik for P6. These two side by side through Curva Grande, and Amir Havik has won the battle just for now. Toy and Lure has a look up the inside going into the first Lesmo, and he's got the position. Sorry, into the chicane. Toy and Lure has got P5. Robert Pawn, unfortunately, is out of today's race. He had a wheel disconnection. He is going to come actually commentate with me. So, unfortunate for him, he was high up in the championship, but today he is out of the race due to wheel problems, and yeah, it's going to be retirement for Robert Pawn. Let me turn up the Discord volume, and we can get Robert Pawn in on today's action. So Max Janssen still leading the way, but Alexei Kaipinen is right up his rear, and they're swerving around in the rain-soaked back straight. Alexei Kaipinen staying in the slipstream for as long as possible. He's going to pull to the inside into Parabolica, thinks better of it. Janssen goes defensive, and it'll stay as it is through the final corner of the first lap of the race. Max Janssen goes wide, could be a chance for Alexei Kaipinen. The door's wide open, and Alexei Kaipinen moves into the lead. A big mistake from Max Janssen. It's only lap one, and mistakes are made. Alexei Kaipinen is into P1 of this race, and that could be the turning point in the championship, as Max Janssen gives up the lead to Kaipinen. Of course, Max Janssen went wider, so he's going to have the better run now, and he may have a move down into turn one. We know he has less downforce, but he's way too far behind in the braking zone. Ricky McKay still in third, and Alex Kaipinen's gone straight on to the chicane. A big mistake from Kaipinen. He's going to gain a lot of time, and we may be seeing a penalty for that. I'm not sure if the game's going to hand that out, or if Kaipinen will be reprimanded after the race. Ricky McKay's running in P3. He's having a good race so far today. And then it's a little further back to Gergo Balak. Let's cut on to some midfield battles now. Amir Havik is a few tenths ahead of Imran Shaikh, who made up a few positions at the start. He started around P9, I believe. Sylvester Tots has opened up a little gap to Lucas Crunden in the cool ice blue livery. Then it's back to Toy and Lure, very far behind now, I believe, after an early incident. And James Finnegan is coming only through turn 1 now. So they've already sorted themselves out into little gaps, but Gergo Balak and Ricky McKay are very close together. And Rick McKay may be under pressure coming into Ascari. Balak's going to have the better run, of course, behind the diffuser of Ricky McKay as he punches a hole through the air. I believe Robert Pawn is with us now. If he wants to join up, he can jump in at any time. Ricky McKay comes through Ascari with P2 in hands. P2, what's happened to Max Janssen? Unless...
Here.
Hello, Robert. Sorry to hear about your
Hi.
DNF. How's it going?
Yes. Not so great.
I see.
Disconnections, and yeah, after I rejoined, my wheel wasn't connected, so
Ah,
that was race over.
connection issues, wheel issues, everything went wrong that it could
Yeah.
have. And Ricky McKay is spun. Ricky McKay is spun from P2. Max Janssen's down to P6. So let's get an update on that. I think he just made a mistake earlier, and now he's in the midfield.
Also, please turn your screen share on so I can see as well.
Good idea. Yeah, Robert Pun. Yeah, we're gonna share. I'm gonna share my screen.
Okay, thanks.
I'll share the OBS screen.
Perfect.
Okay, so Max Janssen having a terrible time of it out there today. Big Mistake gave up the lead on lap 1, and Big Mistake gave up much more on lap 2. He's down into P5, and Alexi Kaipinen is very much free to run away with it now. Look at the gap. No one's near him. Who's going to challenge Kaipinen today? Could it be anyone, Rob?
Yeah, no, I think Kaipinen has a really good pace and he'll just pull away from everyone. The only thing that can spice things up is maybe him spinning or having an incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see any other method for everyone else to catch him.
Honestly, he's one of the most consistent drivers in the championship. I'd say he's been the most consistent out of all of them. So it would be surprising for him to make a big mistake like that.
Yeah, he had a lot of good results. I think his worst one was P2 in the first race in Spa.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, he's just superb. He's honestly, he's making, if he wins the championship at this point, he deserves it. Although maybe he deserves a little penalty for going wide there a few times already. Seems to be the one corner he's struggling with. Sorry, I shouldn't say anyone deserves a penalty, but it seems to be the one corner he's struggling with. Ascari, he keeps going wide there. I noticed it in qualifying, and I know it is a tough one to get right, especially in the rain. So Gergo Balak is now P2 after Rick McKay's big mistake earlier, and I think Rick McKay, well, someone's retired. I don't know who it was, but someone's retired because we're down to only 9 drivers today.
Oh, I think that's Toy and Lower.
Yes, correct. Good eye. Toy and Lure has retired from the session. Perhaps he just couldn't take the conditions and didn't want to continue his race any further. Either way, Gergo Balak, it looks to be running away with P2 right now. You've got Amir Havik in behind who has pace today. Give him that, but Gergo appears to be a bit too fast at the moment.
Yes, the front engine cars are much faster in the rain. Like so, as you can see, the 2 Aston Martins are leading. Alexi Kaipinen in P1 and Gergo in P2, and then we have the Ferrari of Amir Hazik and the Audi of Max Janssen. Both, I think they are mid-engine, not rear engine, but yeah, they are not. The Ferrari and the Audi aren't great in the rain.
Right.
Oh, and the Rick McKay overtook Max Janssen for P4.
Yes, he did. We should cut on to that. Yes, Ricky McKay overtakes Max Janssen for P4. Actually, I think we can do a replay. We can check to see if Max Janssen made a bit of a mistake there or something. No, just looks like Ricky McKay's been in front the whole time.
No, I think you need to do a 30 seconds, not 10.
I tried doing 30 seconds. It's just not working.
Because you are already in a replay. I
Sorry.
think he overtook him in the first turn in the chicane.
Well, oh well. Must have been. I can't go back that far, but yeah, Ricky McKay overtaking the juggernaut of Max Janssen, who quite really flashes the lights at Ricky McKay. Uh, Pawn, are you allowed to do that in this championship?
Yes, I mean, yeah, there is no rule about flashing the lights, so he can flash as much as he wants.
That would be good news if Tom Chasing was racing.
Yes, he would be very happy. For the viewers, Tom likes flashing a lot. Like, I think he has an auto clicker, so he flashes the whole race.
Does he
There's
actually?
and I'm not sure, but that's a great idea for him. So if you are watching Tom, I would suggest an auto clicker for your passion.
No, don't give him any ideas. So,
Oh, too
so,
late.
so we see the top two storming away with it, while Alexei is just gone at this point of the race. It should be in the bag unless he makes some kind of mistake. And Gergo is just taking off as well. The rest of the pack quite far behind. He's got a big gap to the next guy. Then we have Amir Havik, who's leading the battle for P3 between himself, Ricky McKay, and Max Janssen. And then Sylvester Tots is not that far behind. So it's the top, the 3 through 6 are fighting for the podiums. And then we have behind them Imran Shaikh, who just spun off. Lucas Krunzen, who I believe overtook him as he spun. He's trying to get onto the back of that train, but it's going to take a lot of work from here. And then we have James Finnegan quite a bit behind all of them. Good news for James, though. He's in 9th, so he's going to take home points today unless he does not finish. Let's cut on now for the battle for P3. It's Amir Havik, Ricky McKay, who is today, it seems, even better than Max Janssen himself. So Rick McKay doing a great job today to get P4. Got to applaud that effort.
Yeah, he had a really good qualifying session. I think he started P3 and just carried the momentum into the race.
Do you think he can catch Amir Havik?
I'm not sure about that, but if Amir will do a mistake or lose a little bit of time, yeah, I think he has a good chance of getting a podium.
Well, as we've seen, it's very possible for a big mistake today. The conditions are absolutely treacherous, as I'm sure you know from practicing.
Yes, especially the paddles. So, for example, if you're going on the straight casually and then you hit a paddle and the car just shakes,
Oh
it's
no.
extremely scary. And if you're not paying attention, you can even spin.
Well, that sounds lovely.
Yes.
What a lovely condition for racing.
It's interesting but scary at the same time. And I think it makes for good racing to have trickier conditions.
Yeah, I agree. It's been fun because Max Janssen is now down in the order and he's
Oh,
gonna spin off again. Max Janssen makes another big mistake and he's gonna fall to P6 after he almost takes out Sylvester Todd. Let's take a look at the replay of that. Here he is coming through a chicane. It all looks good right now. He pretty well maximized the first few corners, and now he's gonna come onto the Curva Grande. Is this where he spins?
yes. I think he just loses a little bit the rear, tries to correct it and just clips the grass,
Yeah, he was
and that's when
understeering
he
there,
jumps
and
in.
yeah, he tried to steer more, and the rear stepped out on him. So terrible day for Max so far. He's down into P7. Not giving up though. He's gonna fight on. It looks like he knows there's a championship fight still on. So
Yeah, personally, I've been driving the Ferrari, and that thing usually happens if you're running traction control 6 or lower.
mhm.
But that gives you a huge speed advantage over a higher traction control level. So, for example, the difference between level 8 and level 6 is 2 seconds.
Wow.
Yes, that's huge. I didn't know it, and my teammate told me about this in the qualifying session. So that's why my first laps were extremely slow.
Ah.
And when I was doing a 2 seconds faster lap, my game just crashed.
Oh, that sucks.
Yes.
That's just the nature of sim racing, unfortunately. You're having a good time and the game just says no.
Yeah, I consider it a mechanical DNF.
Yeah, it's just we'll in sim racing we can just pretend the car stopped working or something
Yeah.
through a piston.
My engine blew up.
Well, it's Amir Havik still in third place. Ricky McKay attacked him on the last lap coming into Parabolica, but Amir I think had the better traction. So perhaps Amir's running a better traction control setting, and he looked like he glitched into the wall just for a second. Doesn't look like he died from it. So we're just getting to the start of the pit stop window now, I believe. Well, Rob, when would you be pitting if you were racing? I shouldn't speak. I should ask an actual driver. When would you be pitting?
And my game just crashed again.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I think tire wear isn't a huge issue on wet. Maybe from the start of the race till the end we lose a few tenths because of tire wear, nothing huge. So I think it's more about the strategy than the actual wear making you slower.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you want to go for an undercut or an overcut, you can do that, but it won't make a huge difference.
I
Mainly
see.
just if you want clean air or
So,
you are approaching traffic.
so down to consistency mostly and race pace today.
Yes.
Well, not many battles going on right now. Havik is slowly but surely pulling away from Ricky McKay. Looks like he might have pulled out a tenth or two on this lap. Going back to P5 now, we've got Sylvester Tots, who is by far and away has P5 consolidated because Lucas Krunden is only coming through Ascari now, and Tots is coming around the final corner. Then we go way back to Imran Shaikh, who's either in the pit lane or has retired. I can't tell at this moment in time. And James Finnegan, and someone else is retired, by the way. It's Max Janssen. Max Janssen is out of the race. He has
rage.
retired.
Yeah, I kind of understand him. It was a very frustrated moment.
Yeah, he maybe we can get him in here for a comment at some time, but yeah, he obviously he couldn't get the car going straight today. That's just all it's down to, and I honestly don't blame him for retiring because I might have done the same.
Yeah, same. And with the Audi is one of the worst cars in the rain. As you see, 3 Audi started, no one finished. One was
Yes.
because of mechanical issues, but still, that's
Yeah.
not a great percentage.
Yeah, before the
But
race, they were telling me, "Hey, Nick, go try the Audi in the rain," and I'm like, I think I'm good. I don't really want to. So yeah.
oh, and something happened to Gary Balo. I think he pitted because
Yes.
oh no, his front bumper is destroyed.
Gergo Balak made a mistake, it looks like, or came together with another driver, but he's down in fourth.
Yes, look at that hood. It's not
Oh,
good.
a big collision!
Oh, and a
Sylvester
big
Tots
crash.
lost the back
Maybe you
end
can
there.
get a replay on
Let's
that.
get a replay on that. We got Tots and Balak coming through the Lesmo, and yeah, Tots just lost the back end there and oversteered right into Gergo Balak. And he's still picking himself out of the barrier, and he's gonna fall down to P5. So very unlucky for Gergo there. That's just a racing incident, I think. I mean, Tots lost the back end, and once that happens, that was all that was ever gonna happen. You can't really stop the car from doing that once you've lost it, especially in
Oh,
the
and
rain.
I think Tots had already had damage because he was going extremely slow.
Let's take a look at Sylvester Tots now. I can't see any visible damage on his car. Let's take a look at the chase camera. And actually, well, you can see damage there on the rear bumper. Some paint scraped away there. And then let's take a look at the bonnet, see if we can see any damage there. It looks like he
Oh,
may...
he had suspension damage. If you go into the cockpit camera, you can see him driving.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes, he's got big suspension damage. Massive problems for Sylvester Tots. I think he's going to go into the pit lane here. Yes, he is. Sylvester Tots into the pits, locks up on the way in, so... yeah, I think big problems, and he may... I don't know, Pawn, can you fix that amount of damage on Assetto Corsa Competizione?
I'm pretty sure you can fix it, but yeah, you'll have a lot of time. You will lose a lot of time. Oh, and Imran Shaikh gets a stop and go for cutting.
Oh no.
20-second stop and go.
Let's follow along with Imran. Looks like he's taking the corners correctly, but yeah, may have just got a bit too ambitious. Maybe he, my theory actually is that he just cut turn 1 by accident. He missed it and like he didn't slow down enough for the game to just say, okay, you're good. So I think Imran may have penalty for cutting turn 1, maybe a few times. But yeah, very high casualty rate. We started with 12, we are down to 8. And Kaipinen is still running away with it. Pretty flawless outing from him so far. I haven't seen very many mistakes other than maybe running wide a few times at Ascari. Amir Havak has taken over P2. Very nice day for him. I believe he's contesting for his first podium of the season. No, he actually had a podium in Zolder, so good for him. Sort of proves me wrong. Lucas Krunden, though, he is competing for his first podium of the season. He's certainly in 10th in the driver's standings. He would vault up to P6, I believe, if he were to finish in P2 as he is now. Sorry, Krunden, I mean, if he were to finish in P3. Then we have Rick McKay doing a great race. Made a few mistakes, probably. We haven't been on board with him too much, but I believe he must have made some because it's pretty much impossible not to. But nevertheless, P4, solid outing so far. I don't know if he's pitted yet, but we'll have to wait and see.
Okay, so I just checked. Imran Shaikh just drove straight throughout the turn 1 chicane.
Yeah, if you're a new viewer to ARL, Imran has a history of going straight on at corners and just cutting them. Sorry to say Imran, but yeah, Imran has done that a lot, so I wasn't gonna say it, I wasn't gonna speculate that's what happened, but the thought definitely crossed my mind.
We are at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
Oh, and Lucas Krunden is in the pits right now.
Yeah, Lucas Krunden has entered the pit lane, yes. Into the pits for Lucas Krunden from P3. That could see Rick McKay step back into a podium spot as he overtakes him now, but of course Rick has to make a pit stop too, I believe. Alexi still running away with it. He's just been too good today. Here's his helmet cam, and yeah. Let's take a look at let's have a lap on board with Alexi Kaipinen coming through Parabolica now. If you were on a hot lap, you would want to maximize the exit, but Kaipinen is, I'm sure, only worried keeping the car in a straight line and just going at a moderately quick pace as he's doing. Well, moderately quick would be a dramatic understatement. He's going very quick in the rain. 2:03.5 is his best lap, and a 2:03.7 was his last. So he's doing qualifying laps right now, and he's storming away. He really doesn't need to be, but I guess he's just having fun out there. And he's about to come up to lap the first car, I believe.
Yeah, we have Finnegan, who's already 2 laps down, I think.
Ah, I see. I think he's pitted a few times, perhaps for damage.
Yes. But he's 5 seconds behind the Imran Shaikh.
No.
So yeah, maybe we will see a fight at the back of the grid.
Yeah, Finnegan could take a few extra points if he overtakes Imran here, and both of them having a bit of a tough time out there in the wet conditions. As we've seen, Imran kind of gave in to his desire to cut the corner. I think he's just about lost faith so far today. After some mistakes earlier, I'm guessing.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time with a stop and go. Oh, and he spins.
He spun.
Yes.
Imran spun. Let's get a little replay of that. Here he comes into Ascari, and yeah, that's a good place to spin a vehicle. On the weight transfer, just lost the car and probably should have locked the wheels, but he spun into the infield, and now he's picking himself. And he spun, trying to get the car corrected. Not going very well for Imran. He's going to be lapped again, and he's going to go use the outside of the track now.
Yeah, I don't think you can block the wheels since we are using high ABS levels.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay.
yeah, even he tried, he couldn't block the wheels, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
So he just spun.
So I think James Finnegan may be 1 lap behind Imran Shaikh. No, he has moved up into P7. Silly live timing. Kaipinen comes across the line, 17 minutes to go in this race, and it's all Alexei Kaipinen so far. The Flying Finn is walking away with almost certainly another 25 points to add to his championship total, and it will be pretty much all booked solid once he crosses the line and takes the checkered flag. He will add, probably, assuming everything goes okay, 25 points to his total, and he will have a total of 86, so 40 points ahead of Max Janssen, which makes him almost untouchable coming into the final 2 races.
Yep. 40 points is a pretty big gap. So I'm not sure if Max will be able to do anything about that. He had 2 DNFs, one at Zolder and one at Monza, so if we would have excluded those 2 DNFs, I think the championship fight would have been interesting here in Monza and in the next rounds. But yeah, Zolder and Monza not really
So what you're saying
good
here,
rating for Max.
so what you're saying is the ACC league is going to consider dropping your worst 2 rounds from the championship total?
No. That would trigger a lot of people.
I think it would, yeah.
Yes.
Amir Havik, P2, this would be his best finish in ARL ever, I believe. And he's driven well today to get into this position. He's lapping, well, we can't see until he crossed the line, but we can check the timetable to see how everyone's getting on. Except for the fact that it's not showing their best laps. Although Lucas Krunden has a 30-second stop-go penalty. Maybe he cut the first corner, as did Imran.
I'm just checking that.
Amir heads into Parabolica, and what I have to say is a pretty nice Ferrari livery. I like the red and white combo. Here's Rick McKay coming into the first chicane. Sylvester Tots is behind him, although Tots is 1 lap down on Rick McKay, so it looks like pretty much the top 3 is just solidified. Lucas Krunden is in P4, and I think Rick McKay still has to make a pit stop, so Lucas Krunden could have been in P3, but with the stop-go, that effect is neutralized. In fact, Rick McKay may even gain a full pit stop over Lucas Krunden due to that. So I believe it's going to be Kaipinen and Havik McKay on the podium, but you never know. In these rain-soaked conditions, things happen.
I don't see anything strange about Krunden. He went off once, but I think he lost time, so...
Well, it's strange. He's got a 30-second stop-go penalty here. Not entirely sure why that is. Alexei Kaipinen is into the pit lane. He's made his pit stop finally after 26 minutes of racing, and he'll have some very fresh tires going to the end.
Amir Hazik is in the lead right now.
Correct. Amir Havik into the lead after Alexei Kaipinen's pit stop. I believe Amir still has to make his own, so I wouldn't get too comfortable seeing him in the lead for long, because Alexei will shortly just take over once the pit stop is finished, unless perhaps Alexei had some damage that caused him to lose extra time. Because I think I would have thought he would just come out ahead of Amir after his pit stop anyways.
Yeah, same. I think he lost a lot of time in the pit stop.
Don't know what happened there. Maybe he made a mistake coming into the pits. Let's take a look. Let's go to a replay, actually. Maybe we can see if something weird happened in his pit stop. No. Yeah, it looks like he may have just made a mistake.
I can check that for you.
Rob,
his pit stop was extremely long.
Okay. So maybe he just had to fix some damage or something. Rob, do you know how to cancel a replay?
Just leave it, it will close automatically. So he finished his pit stop at 20 minutes and 5 seconds and started it at Whoa, that's a long pit stop.
How long was it?
And started it at 15. Oh wait, no, what? Yes, at
It
15:45.
Wow. So is that you said a 4-minute pit stop for Alexei Kaipinen?
I think so. That's huge for a pit stop.
So
He
okay, but he's still in second. So he hasn't been lapped, which is strange considering 4 minutes would be enough for the whole field to pass him twice. You would think.
Amir Hazik actually left him. Alexei Kaipainen is one lap down from Amir.
Ah, so Amir Havik now
Or no,
somehow, some way, Amir Havik is in the lead. Amir Havik is almost certainly gone in this race. He's a lap up on the
he,
championship leader.
he actually has a 1 minute gap to Alexei Kaipainen.
A 1 minute gap. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, he'll still be ahead after the pit stop.
Yes, he will. It's gonna be very close, but I'm pretty sure Amir already pitted, so
Did he?
it won't be a huge issue. Yes, I'm pretty sure he pitted already.
Interesting. So without any mistakes now, it's going to be Amir Havik to win this race. Unbelievable turn of events here. Alexei Kaipinen has possibly thrown away a win. I don't know what went wrong in the pit stop phase. Maybe we can get him in here to ask him after the race, but now Alexei is a long way behind Amir Havik, and without a mistake, he has just given away a win. And
Yeah,
that's disappointing.
maybe he had a little bit of damage and forgot to uncheck the repairs from the pit menu.
Perhaps. So maybe they replaced the
Oh,
switch
Amir
suspension.
Hazik is in the pits. Amir is
Yep.
going to the pits right now.
Amir Havik enters the pit lane, and he's going very slow on the entry there. So Alexei Kaipinen now has a minute to make up. Let's follow on board with him. He has to go all the way around the track. No, he's only coming to the final section. So it's going to be very close to see where they emerge. Havik in the pits for his pit stop after 30 minutes. So it's going to be Havik with the fresher tires, although Rob said that likely won't make too much of a difference in this race. Still, it's Kaipinen coming through the final corner. Amir Havik with his foot on the accelerator, I believe, getting ready for the pit crew to release him. Let's go to Helicam.
He was 12 he was going 12 kilometers per hour when he pitted, so that was one slow pit stop.
And it's Alexei Kaipinen back in the lead. No. I thought he was only a minute behind, but perhaps he was a full lap down on Havik.
Oh, I think the standings reset every lap, not every second. So Amir Hazik crossed the finish line in the pits. So now the gap jumped from 1 minute to 37 seconds.
So Alexei Kaipinen does have to go all the way around the track to catch Havik again.
No, he's in the lead. Look.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool. Thanks, Assetto Corsa Competizione. Well, Alexei Kaipinen has in fact not thrown away a win. It was in fact not a one-lap gap, and Alexei Kaipinen is in the lead of the race once again. So there was never any worry that we were making it out to be, at least, because Kaipinen is safe again on the top spot.
The gap is 20 seconds right now, so I think Amir Hazik won a little bit of time. Oh, and we see Mekay only 8 seconds behind Amir Hazik. Maybe we're gonna see a fight by the end of the race.
Let's fall on board with Ricky McKay. He's trying to catch Amir Havik for P2. Ricky McKay, I've said it a bunch of times, but yeah, he's having a great race, is Ricky. He's got 8 seconds to make up if he's going to catch Amir, but Amir's been very consistent today, I believe, so it could be tough. I'm going to turn on the timetable, see what their sector times are going to be, or not, because the timetable is essentially useless, as I forgot. It's Kaipinen leading the way, something I've gotten very used to saying over the course of this championship. Amir Havik in P2, Ricky McKay third, then it's Sylvester Tots a long way back in P4. James Finnegan is up to P5, so he started in 11th, I believe. Had some big mistakes early, was like 2 laps down in the leader after only about 20 minutes, and now he's in P5. He's going to pick up 10 points today, maybe, if he can hold on. Garrigo having a bit of a bad outing. He's in 6th place after what must have been a few mistakes. He's a good GT3 driver, but today seems to be not his day in the wet conditions. Then we have Lucas Krunden a long way down the order, and Imran Shaikh is, I believe he's retiring.
Yeah, the rain didn't really help everyone finish the race.
Yeah,
As
no.
we saw, a lot of spins, a lot of slides. Yeah, it wasn't really great.
It looks like only 7 drivers are going to be crossing the line.
Yep, started 12 I think and finished 7.
That's
Not
almost
great
so
exactly.
it's almost a 50% attrition rate for those of you keeping
Yep.
score at home.
And if we count me, I was I didn't start because my wheel wasn't plugged after the disconnection. So 11 started the race and only 7 finished it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, very high attrition today. Looks like the rain is not playing into the hands of our drivers, except for this man. He's the robot. I guess that's just how they make him in Finland, huh?
Yep.
Bottas, Kaipin, Kimi, the
So
Iceman. Just too good, just too consistent. I don't think we've seen a single mistake from Kaipin today, other than whatever happened in the pit lane earlier. So a bit of a mistake, but not in the driving. Perhaps in some kind of pit stop management. Either way, Kaipinen's been pretty much perfect today. Otherwise, and he really deserves 25 points, and he deserves to win the championship if he does.
yeah, he showed a really good pace and consistency in the first rounds. And as we can see right now, he has a good pace and consistency this time as well. And probably will have at by the end of the championship too. So
Yeah,
yeah, I think if he wins the championship, he will win it by working, not luck.
yeah, definitely didn't. Luck didn't really come into it. He really deserves every point he's gotten so far in the championship. He's driven so well, and it's impossible to knock him really for anything he's done. I don't know if he's even made a single mistake in the championship at all. He's just been so clean.
He had a little bit of luck with Max DNFing in Zolder and Monza,
That's
but
true.
even if he would have DNF'd in Zolder, they were fighting bumper to bumper for the first half of the race, so most probably Kai Painen would have overtaken him by the end of the race. Same in Monza, I think he was already in front when Max crashed.
That's very true. So let's take a look now at what the standings going to look like. If Kaipinen wins this race, which it looks almost certain that he's going to, he will be 40 points ahead of Max Janssen, and all he will need to score are 10 more to seal the championship in the next race. He may very well seal it anyways, but all he needs are 10 to lock it down in the next race at Misano, the Italian Grand Prix version 2. Now, I don't know if this is for position between Tots and McKay. I don't think it is. I think Tots may be a lap down. Amir Havik and McKay are somewhat close on track, but I don't think anywhere near close enough to make a move. And I believe we've just had another retirement. Who has gone out of the race now? Kaipinen, Havik, McKay, Tots, Finnegan, Balog are all still in the race. Shaikh, of course, we've noted has retired. Rob, do you know who has retired?
No. Oh, I think that's no. I have no idea who retired. Wait,
Yeah,
I can find using a very complex method, looking at the live stream.
that would be good. Yes, we are missing someone. We had 8 drivers just a minute ago, and now uh, someone else is out of the race.
Oh, I think that's Lucas Krunden.
Lucas Krunden, yes, Lucas Krunden. He was having a decent one. He was up in the upper portion of the midfield, but I guess he just had enough of the wet weather, and he decided to just be done with it. Just a second, sorry. All right, I return to commentate over the final 2 minutes. Should be only the end of this lap and one more to go, and the race will be finished. As we're coming to the end, and there's nothing to commentate over, of course. I'd like to just thank our sponsors for today's race and of ARL in general, Lift Esports, providing some esports services for lifestyle branding and supplements and training. And we've got Rack Service, Sadler Computers. I believe it's Sadler that runs Rack Service, although I'm not entirely sure. It's Rack Service hosting today's server, and we want to thank them for their help and sponsorship. Well, I've just been told no, it's not Sadler, it is just Rack Service.
Give me the final push.
We hear Alexei Kaipanen's team radio say the leader's on the final lap, even though he is the leader. Well, Alexei Kaipanen enters the final lap of the race. Amir Havik is coming around Parabolica now. It would take some minor miracle for him to get past Kaipanen on the final lap. 1 lap to go. Alexei Kaipanen is almost certainly going to run away with it. Amir Havik, P2. Nice race from him. And he's going to shoot up the order now. In fact, he was in 7th before with 18 more points. He is going to be up into P3 in the championship. P3 for Max Janssen, I believe. No, sorry, P3 for Amir Havik. So it doesn't look like he can contend for the championship. In fact, no, he won't be in range of Alexei Kaipanen. The only one who can take him down would be Max after this race, but he can compete for P2. Rick McKay will be getting into the top 10 after this event. It's been a nice race from him. He's actually stayed pretty consistent, I must say, in the 40 minutes of today. Rick McKay, very nice drive from him to take his first podium in Ace Racing League. Sylvester Tots, it's not been perfect, but he's going to come away with some good points in P4 and get on the scoreboard. I believe he'll enter the top 10 with today's 4th place finish. Then James Finnegan, the surprise entry into P5. He had a very difficult start. He was struggling greatly and made a few crashes in an early pit stop to fix damage, but he's going to finish in 5th place. Then Gergo Balak is going to come home in 6th after a very unlucky and dreadful day at wet Monza. Let's fall on board with Alexei Kaipanen as he comes through the final corner. It's been an almost unbelievable day from the Finn. He's been so much on the pace. His last lap was a 2:03.6. He's consistently the fastest man in town. Alexei Kaipanen wins the ARL 40 minutes of Monza. Amir Havik is going to come home in P2. In fact, it looks like he may be on for his best lap of the race. He's a 10th up on it. He's going to come around the final corner now. Solid race from the Malaysian. We've always had a strong Malaysian contingent in ARL, and they've always been very fast. Mika Hakimi, Amir Havik, all of those gentlemen, and here he comes around the final corner in the Ferrari to take P2 in the ARL 40 minutes of Monza. Terrific race from him. Rick McKay is also coming around the final corner now. He's going to take the final spot on the podium in the white and gold Ferrari. Solid from Rick McKay, and I got to applaud him on his first ARL podium. He takes P3. Sylvester Tots comes across the line for P4. Don't look at these standings on the left-hand side. Those are not correct because Alexei Kaipanen has left the server. James Finnegan, I believe, has already finished. Perhaps not. Perhaps he has to come through this bit of the lap. But it's going to be James Finnegan coming home in P5 and Gergo Balak to take 6th place. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I don't believe we have anyone joining us for interviews. But congratulations to Alexei Kaipanen on a superb drive and all of our podium finishers. It's been an honor to commentate for everyone today, and it's been an interesting race to watch, especially with all the retirements in the rain. Alexei Kaipanen is running away with the championship, and he may be untouchable. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I've been Nicholas Barnsdale for Ace Racing League, and everyone that supports it for Chimal Courage, Robert Pawn, and Max Janssen. Thanks so much for watching. Have a wonderful weekend. Oh, and don't forget to join us tomorrow for the F3 Summer League's opening event at Silverstone. Thanks so much for watching. Have a good day and a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
Green light, go, go, go.